Hey, what's up? What's up? Joe in Vegas back with another review. Duran Duran. If you follow my channel, if you've listened to me for a while, I think it was the last Halloween. Yeah, it was this past Halloween. I had a little run-in with Duran Duran fans. Let me be straight. I love Duran Duran. I've loved Duran Duran my whole life. I am an 80s kid. Last Halloween, they did a show here in Vegas. And I didn't really do much research. I didn't think I had to do research. But it was a one-off show where it was Halloween-themed, where they were all dressed up. It was at the Encore. It was at a tiny little place that holds maybe 1,500 people at the most. And they played more deeper cuts. You didn't get all the hits. You got some of the hits because they had to be themed Halloween or scary. So Hungry Like the Wolf and stuff like that they played. But they skipped a lot of the hits. And I had a problem with that. Not a problem with the band, not a problem with how they sounded. I just had a problem with them not playing all the hits. They could have done a first set of Halloween stuff and then finished with a bunch of hits. I just left there very unsatisfied. And whoa, these Duran Duran fans are passionate. They came after me in droves. They burnt my house down. They beat up my dog. They came after me hard. I get it. I get why you love Duran Duran. I get it. So consider this the redemption because they finally came back around and they came with their full set and their full hits, which is what I was expecting. Again, I enjoyed the Halloween show. I just left unsatisfied. So whatever Duran Duran itch I had was definitely scratched last night. They came with supposedly Bastille, Nile Rodgers, and then Duran Duran. I was actually pretty stoked to see Bastille. I've never seen him before. I only know 2, maybe 3 songs, but they're great songs. They play him on the radio all the time. He's a really talented guy. I like uniqueness. When in this new age of music, so many people sound the same, and everybody's auto-tuned, and everybody has the same beat in the background, and it's just a matter of changing lyrics to fuck you, to fuck this. But when I heard Bastille immediately, such a unique voice, such a unique talent, and I really liked him. Unfortunately, he canceled. I don't know why we never get notified of this stuff, but Nile Rodgers just played a little bit longer of a set, which is not bad at all. Nile Rodgers is unbelievable. I hate to use this analogy because it's not right, but it just reminded me of the single greatest party/wedding band you'll ever see. I know that's a terrible thing to say because he wrote these songs and he produced these songs, but he has this big, happy, joyous, loud, funky band behind him, and he wrote and produced these unbelievable songs over the last probably 40, maybe 50, no, probably 40 years. Everything from, he's got his own band with the Chic, which is, it's now Rodgers. I think actually officially Chic was the opener, but now it's his band. He had a couple big hits with Chic. He had some stuff with Madonna, with David Bowie, with Beyonce. The list goes on and on. Daft Punk. It's just incredible. And everything he writes is funky and cool and makes you happy. That was, in my opinion, the single greatest opening act I've ever seen for a band. He was a headliner. He was a headliner. By the time he was done, the crowd had they were on their feet. They were going crazy. We're old. We're a bunch of old Duran Duran fans. I don't think we can handle an opening act like that. They were just awesome. So great job. If I have to rate him on his own, I would give him a 9.1 out of 10, maybe 9.2 out of 10. It's really that good and that enjoyable. Now, on to Duran Duran. Let me start with the set list. And the set list is exactly what I expected the last time I saw him that I didn't get. So, again, that's why I was so upset. I'm sorry again for Duran Duran fans. I'm sorry. Don't burn any more houses down. I only have a couple more. All right. They start with Night Boat and then Wild Boys. I love Wild Boys. And then right into Hungry Like the Wolf. Obviously one of their biggest songs. View to a Kill from the James Bond movie. Also, man, I said this. It just happens to be the way it fell out. Earlier in the week, I went to see Belinda Carlisle. And I said something in there which I still think about and I believe it 100%. There were certain bands and people that were from the 80s that set the tone. It set the vibe, the sound, the style, the look of the glorious decade, which was the 80s. 80s had some of the best music, some of the most interesting fashion, great movies, great. 80s were a vibe on their own, and that's why they're so popular all these years later. People love the fucking 80s. Belinda Carlisle Go-Go's, Duran Duran is one of these bands. There was a handful of these bands that really set the tone. Duran Duran I call them time machine bands. When you hear Hungry Like the Wolf or View to a Kill or any of these other songs, Rio, it takes you right back to your childhood or to your teenage, however you're old at that time. But it took you back to a certain vibe. It's not just a year. There was a part of your life where everything was happy and everything was great and everything was easy. There's no fucking internet, no social media, no YouTube, no comments, no political Trump and Biden back and forth, go fuck yourself, no COVID, no. It was just an easy fucking time. We just went to movies and we had fun and we played arcades. It was a great, great time in the history, I think, of America for sure. And Duran Duran was one of those bands that set that tone. So when I hear View to a Kill, that not only ties me to a certain era, but also the movies of that time. Like I said, they were setting the tone. I love all these songs, but certain ones really stand out. Notorious, another one of those. Give It All Up, Lonely in Your Nightmare. He did Super Freak at the end of that. I'm going to have my comment about the covers at the end. Is There Something I Should Know? Anniversary. Friends of Mine, Careless Memories, which I actually like that song. I think it's a newer one. Ordinary World, man, I think that was already, forgive me, I'm sorry Duran Duran fans, don't come after me. I'm pretty sure Ordinary World was actually early 90s and not 80s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my brain's kind of me telling that, which was an amazing second act for Duran Duran. They were able to blow out of the 80s a little bit and creep into the 90s. It's so nice when you see these 80 bands can put out songs like Come Undone, and Ordinary World and Come Undone. I believe they're on the same album. But he killed it last night, or he dedicated to Ukraine, whatever. But he just killed it. He's so fucking Simon is so good. Come Undone after that, and Planet Earth, which was awesome. Then they did a cover. Look, they did a cover of White Lines, which I think they do all the time. I remember that from seeing them in the past. It's really good. They pick a great song to cover. The crowd is going crazy. The vibe is awesome. It's really like it's almost like from a set list standpoint, he's setting up the crowd to go crazy, and then he hits them with his last 4 biggest hits out there. I think it's awesome. My take on covers, and this is a personal thing. Don't beat me up, Duran. I actually want to know this. So let's work together, Duran Duran fans. Why don't they ever play New Moon on Monday? I love New Moon on Monday. If my memory serves me correct, that was my first introduction to Duran Duran. I still absolutely love that song. I listen to it all the time. They never play it. I really want to understand why. Obviously, it's not about time because they do these covers, and it always irks me a little bit. I can't get mad at them, but it kind of irks me a little bit when they do a cover, but then they don't do some of their bigger hits. And off the top of my head, I can't think, but I'm sure there's 1 or 2 songs they didn't do. So please, someone leave in the comments and let me know. I really want to know why they don't do New Moon on Monday. I think I have some OCD or something, because as well-rounded as the set list is, when you're missing one song, it still irks me. It irks me from 2 shows ago that they didn't play New Moon on Monday. So I have to go home and listen to New Moon on Monday so I can sleep that night. That's how fucked up I am. But please, someone leave that. Then after that, again, they had the crowd. That song really pumped up the crowd. It's a real pump-up song. And then they go into Reflex, which was awesome. I was telling my friend, if you all remember the video, they had this blue wave that came out over the crowd. There's a little tip for Duran Duran. If you're listening, spend a little money, because honestly, bro, we have the technology, I'm pretty sure, where you can probably have a blue hologram wave coming off the screen and into the crowd, and that would blow everybody's fucking minds. If you can do that in a live show, just exactly like the video where that wave came over, that would be absolutely incredible. Spend a little money. Girls on Film, which I was surprised they played that. That's what I'm saying. I think I read somewhere, or these days, we're all messed up on what's acceptable and what's not acceptable to listen to. Girls on Film is, it's very, anti-women. And meanwhile, every girl I know is on OnlyFans, which is girls on digital film. But then they followed up with a little song called Acceptable in the 80s, which I don't know if they wrote that, which I think it's just a little jokey thing they did about girls on film, that it was acceptable in the 80s, don't punish us now. So they found I think if I'm right about that, I don't think that was a real song, Acceptable in the 80s. But they might have found a little joking way to kind of be able to play that song still. Then they did the fake encore, and then he came out with got to be one of the best ballads of the 80s. Save a Prayer is like, that one gets you in your gut, it gets you in your heart, it chokes you up. He comes out with an acoustic guitar. He gets the whole crowd to light up their cell phones, and It's magic. That's fucking magic, man. To me, that's I just, Save a Prayer. I just remember so well the video, and again, going back to that 80s thing, they came out right when MTV was blowing up, and they had great videos, their visuals, and Simon they were all good looking guys. All 30 Taylors were good looking guys, and Simon was a good looking guy, and they just had everything you needed to be beyond superstars, at the right sound, at the right time, with the right look, and they just nailed it. And then they closed with the legendary, the what is it? The Mount Rushmore, the peak of the Rio. Rio was the song for them. I mean, there was a lot of the songs for them, but to me, the video of Rio on the boat and the suits and the moves and the sound, it doesn't get much better. You might be sick of it as a Duran, not sick of it, but you might, as a Duran Duran fan, you might want to go a little deeper. But Rio is that song, and that's why they close with it, and that's why it's awesome. This was the set list that I wanted. Halloween, I get it. I understand. I read all your comments when you beat me up about the Halloween show. I get it. The reason that show was so special is because it was so special. I get it. But as someone who's a fan of Duran Duran and just wants to go and have a great time, this is the set list that you dream of, and this is the band that you dream of. My only criticism I would have for them is, number one, like I said, and it could be a good reason. I would love to hear it. I don't know why they don't play New Moon on Monday. The other reason is I thought Simon seemed a little slow. He sounded perfect, and he looked great, and all that was great, and his personality was there, and the smiles and the jokes. But he seemed a little slower. He wasn't dancing around the stage much. He wasn't running around the stage much. I could just be there in the middle of a tour. Look, these guys are old. I'm old. You're old. We're all old. I go away for 3 days on a weekend. I need like 3 weeks to recover from that trip. So these are older guys. They are, who are traveling now and on tour, and it probably catches up to you. I don't know. I could be wrong. I recall him being more energetic on stage and running around more, but either way, it didn't matter. When your songs are this good and you're this good, it doesn't freaking matter. No, it didn't bother me. It's just, like I said, I have to have some criticism, a little bit. And that's it. Not much else to say. It is a great, great show. If you've never seen Duran Duran, don't even hesitate. Ticket prices, dude, like I said, we're in a world where people are charging. I paid for tonight. I'm going to see Beyonce. I paid 2 fucking tickets. Cost me $770, man, for 2 tickets with fees. And that was like after I waited and they came down a little bit. I paid $99 a ticket. I was in section 16, which is the Bud Light Lounge and T-Mobile. They have a Jack Daniels Lounge and a Bud Light Lounge, which you get a little special area with different bathrooms and different bars. No, Kid Rock was not working as a bartender in the Bud Light Lounge. But I paid $99 a ticket about 3 or 4 days ago maybe. Very affordable, very cheap, worth the money. Scale of 1 to 10. Duran Duran, I'm giving you a 9.3 out of 10. It's such a great show. It's such a great time. Thanks for listening. If you were there, leave some messages, leave some comments. Please, if you're a diehard Duran Duran, you spent a lot of time beating me up last time, but this time educate me a little bit. Tell me why they don't play New Moon on Monday. I'd like to know. I really would. Something I'd like to know. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, comment, and I will see you at the next show. Take care. Bye-bye.